Hi, everybody. Welcome to Alaskan Ballistics Live. I hope y'all are doing well. It is another Tuesday night gun chat. We chat whatever you guys want to talk about. You put your questions in the chat. I give you my answers. They're worth exactly what you pay for them, unless you give me a super chat, which means they're worth less than what you paid for them. And we have a good old time shooting the bull and just talking about guns, guy things, politics, whatever y'all want to talk about. So, that being said, don't forget to check out the links below and our Patreon page, which our Patreon page is only making like $15 a month. So, like, if y'all want to keep seeing cool videos, got to get that up because YouTube advertising is not working very well. And join our AD page or our MeWe page. That's where you can get a lot of the good deals on stuff that I'm not allowed to directly post on YouTube. So make sure that you go to those different places. I don't know you're here if you don't say hi in the chat. So say hi, where you're from, and the best caliber that you like, of course, which we all know it's 10 millimeter and 308 Winchester or 300 Win Mag, but whatever. Um, put all that. We can have some caliber war discussions tonight. Put your questions in there. Inevitably we end up talking about what is a good bear defense gun every time here on Tuesday Night Gun Chat. Don't forget to check out Natchez Shooting Supplies. They've sent some stuff out to the channel, as well as Arcan Optics and a few other good companies. So I did just get just ordered today new pack raft, one that is a true two-person pack raft from Kokopelli. And Kokopelli helped us out with that a little bit. So if you're in I've been an alpaca guy, but they're just so expensive. And Kokopelli was willing to work with us when alpaca wasn't. And so I think that shows a lot to their character. They want to at least get into the hunting market. I don't know if they're pro 2A or anything like that, but I can tell you alpaca wants to be in the hunting market, is in the hunting market, and isn't pro 2A. They turned down my channel, even though I've made videos on their pack rafts. So again, Kokopelli, go check them out if you're into walking and hiking and you need a raft to get to places. Really, really handy piece of equipment, especially if you're like bugging out during SHTF. Really, really handy piece of equipment. So that's that. All right. So let's shout out the chat. I do not know you're here. If you don't write in, uh, if you don't write your name in, I don't know you're here. What's up, Justin Perriman? How you doing? Hunter Kirk is from a very warm North Idaho. All right, disastrous effect. It's good to see you again here. Don't forget to join my AD page, Arms Directory. Anonymous F, what's up, dude? Chris Heitzman, the one, the only Chris Heitzman. Hit those thumbs up. Appreciate that. Hello, Chuck from Michigan. What's up, Warren? How you doing? Keith Reese from Georgia. Brutal Bob, also from Michigan. What is up, Brutal Bob? All right. Hello from Missouri. What's up? All right. David Posey from the great state of Tennessee. Go Vols. All right. Vols for life, baby. I've always been a Tennessee fan. Grew up in Georgia, but I was a Tennessee fan. Trigger Bar Philosopher, another good channel. Everybody go check out his videos. Make sure you subscribe to him. Come back. Go subscribe to him. Come back. That's allowed. All right. When you're taking a bathroom break or whatever. You know. Let's see. Up the Elliott this morning. What was he saying? Okay, you're up the Elliott Highway this morning? Cool. That's cool. I need to go up there. Is there any caribou out there? All right. Do you ever run a hot tent or like a buddy heater when on hunting expeditions? Absolutely not, because A, the tents are flammable. B, I've got a degree sleeping bag and I generally use it as a blanket on top of my mat. And I've got long underwear on and stuff. I don't need it, man. I'm a big fat guy. I got produce plenty of heat for the whole damn tent. Whole dang tent. Excuse me. I gotta quit cussing. All right. So there's that. Lucky Gunner did a bit. 44 mag for bear works best. Yeah, I would agree that as far as like the stopping of the actual bear itself, yeah, I would agree. 44 mag is probably better, and that's what I've been carrying lately. I've been carrying my 44 with the 255 grain Keith gas check bullets from Buffalo Bore, the loaded ammunition that they do. So that's what I've been carrying lately. I totally agree with them, to be honest with you. Um, let's see. Chuck, which rifle are you hunting with this fall? Most likely my 300 Winchester Magnum. Sup, Ren or Ryan or Ren? I like the picture of the cow. That's pretty cool. All right, how you doing? Yeah, but yeah, 300 Win Mag. I'm gonna shoot with my 300 Win Mag. I've got those rounds from North Fort Bullets loaded up. And they're accurate enough. They're sub-inch group, barely, but sub-inch group. So I'm gonna be happy with that. I'm not far enough north to run into caribou unless it's really lost. Yeah, I heard that. All right. 375 versus 416 for your one Alaska smoke pole. I would go 375 just because there's a lot more ammo available for it and a lot more components that are easier to find up here. That would be my thing. I would do a 375 Ruger, not an H&H, because you get another 100 feet per second over the H&H without a lot more recoil. So it kind of is what it is. A 20-inch Ruger will do what a 26-inch H&H will do. So 375 Ruger. If that was going to be my one do it all everything, I have a 338 Win Mag that I would also throw in there. Like I could hunt anything in Alaska with the same round, 338 Win Mag. So that's that. Have you ever gone pig hunting? I've been in a deer stand when some pigs came by, but I didn't have a real good shot at her. It's a big old sow with like 9 little piglets, and you got to knock out 80% of those a year. Maybe I should call that guy and get back on there on that land. So that's what I'm saying. So anyway, what's up, Jim Stoffel from Northern Illinois, behind enemy lines? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're out of all that Chicago mess. But yeah, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. So. I would really like a small hunting fishing shack up there in AK where I could go about once a year for about a month and just stock up all the fish and game God allows. Where in AK would this be? Do you want to be able to drive to it or not? That's the question. Anonymous F. If you want to be able to drive to it, it's got to be on the road system, which means there's a good chance there's other cabins around there too. Um, there's some plots you can buy up above Fairbanks in any direction. Like there's some places there. I would look around Toke maybe um, for some plots of land you can buy for private land. There's some places near Toke, and that's where I got my moose last year. Not a lot of caribou in there. Um, yeah, those are that's, I mean, if you're on the road system, if you want to be able to fly to Anchorage, then fly your private plane, well, then heck, go anywhere in Alaska that's off the road system and, someplace they'll allow you to fly a plane into. There are whole communities of lake communities where they're off the road system and you fly into them. So there are whole communities, and that's not even counting the native villages. So there's that. So I hear you. My girlfriends loved to sleep with me in the winter, kick me out of bed in the summer. Yeah, there you go. All right. Hello, Chuck and chat. What's up, Luminous Dave? Master 88 or Mossberg 500? Which do you think will handle better slug better? They're the same gun, man. They're the same gun. And speaking of the same gun, here's a guy who can testify to it. The man, the myth, the legend, and the coolest guy that you know, Mr. Tactical Lever Action himself, Pat RMG. How's it going, brother?
Oh, super duper. Just practicing my pointer fingers.
There you go. All right. Is that a hold up displays wall that you're working on back there?
Yeah, it's hold up displays. I'm still in the infancy stages of my new studio and gun room. And
Me too. This is where I'm at.
yeah, I've got a lot to go. There's about 500 square feet up here. I blew out a wall, put up a header so that it would put the support back in where the wall went. Yeah, this is going to be the ultimate gun hangout. I think I've only got like 5 guns on the wall. Yeah, 5. And I have all sorts of other cool stuff going on. But yeah,
Cool. I haven't. I got this wall built and I haven't done anything else. There's not even a door to this room right now. It's just open. And it's such a weird space that I don't know that I could find a door that size. I might end up doing like a barn gate to go into my reloading room,
Yeah,
like something
so
like that.
I don't have my door up there yet. I'm actually being quite particular because it's going to be housing so many guns. So yeah, I'm staring at this open space, waiting for some type of door myself.
Yeah. Well, I see you got your YouTube play button back there. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That actually, speaking of hold up displays,
Hmm.
they've got this little two hook thing that's meant for knives or guns or whatever. And if you remove those and pop two quarter 20 screws in it, it's the perfect spacing that it
Nice.
just hangs. And it was kind of one of those, like, I was looking at it and I said, hey, this looks right. And I just removed their hardware and put mine in, and it hung right on it.
There you go.
So
I,
I meant to actually send them a video today of what I did to tell them that it works, but I forgot to.
yeah, I get that. I get that. All right. Well, hey, you want to answer Luminous Dave's question? I already told him they're the same gun, but Maverick 88 or Mossberg 500, which do you think would handle a bear slug better?
So, both of those are very reputable guns. The 88, the 500, neither one of those are going to bust your budget. Both of them are actually going to give you solid performance. But something that I just recently came across, SDS Imports out of Knoxville brings in the hammer. So they've actually got a 12 gauge that comes in under 200 bones. I know we can't speak freely, but the hammer from SDS Imports, the Tokarev,
Hmm.
that thing is freaking solid. I recently took one of them, and like I said, this thing is less than 200 bones, transfer and all, and
Sweet.
it's a solid piece. So whether the 88 or the 500 or the hammer, no matter which one fits your budget, no matter which one's available, they're solid guns.
That's pretty cool. Like, um, it's good to know that some of those guns are solid. Like, I've seen some of the Turkish cheap guns not be solid. Like, they were like insulting to do it in my giveaway contest. But it's good to know that some of them are solid. I know that SDS does a good. Their handguns do a really, really good job. Those TSOS 1911 seem to work really well. So
Yeah, so I've got some TSOS 1911s. The cool thing about those, I was actually in the gun store the other day, and this dude was like, "Yeah, man, these things are cheap." And I was, "Hold up, the I'm not going to advocate fully on these Turkish guns, but what I'm going to say is, you grab the Smith and Wesson at 1K, and it's going to have mem parts in it. You grab
yeah,
the TSOS at half of 1K, and it's still going to have forged internals. There's no mem.
right.
So there's something to be said there. I'm not saying that mem is bad. There are some guns that I really like that are full of mem parts, but
Mhm.
when it comes to mem versus forged and all of that, you really can't look past the TSOS
Right.
for that reason. And yeah, I guess I'll just rest my case there.
Yeah, I agree. I would argue that some of the Turkish guns that are good are actually copying the Winchester 1300 pattern, and so they have that rotating bolt. And I would argue that I know Stoker does it, and like there's several of the Stevens little one that's made in Turkey, but has Stevens' name on it. And then the actual Winchester 1300s are actually made in Turkey now. I would argue those are better because they pump so much smoother than the Mossberg 500 or the Maverick 88. So
Yeah,
I would
and that,
argue with that, but
yeah,
that's
and
me.
that's something to be said about those Turkish guns. Probably for about 4 years now, every time I grab one of those Turkish guns, they're really just genuinely smooth. And
Yeah.
then it let's lump something in recently, the Rossi 95s, the
Hmm.
R95s coming out of Brazil.
Hmm.
Those things are actually much smoother than many of the Marlins that I've grabbed hold of. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
hate to say
actually agree
it,
with that.
everybody wants to be like made in America. Like, we always want to be like pounding this made in America. You always want to tout the fact that this American worker is feeding his family. and he's putting braces on his little girl, and he's running this machine, and he's building these guns. But the problem is these other countries, they're really like pushing things harder. For your American worker, there's always that joke that the gun was made on a Monday or late Friday.
Right.
They're, the, these dudes in these other countries have something to prove, and they're hurting a lot of American jobs. I would rather spend my money made in America as much as I can. But the truth
Right.
is, when you start looking at some of these outside gun companies, they're really doing some stuff.
Yeah. No.
And I'll call it when I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. They have good quality stuff. I mean, you're going to pay less. I mean, Remington was made here in America, and they went to crap, you know, um, when they got bought out by that Freedom Group or whatever. And, they started making guns for like poor quality Walmart and stuff like that. And then I had a Rimlin Marlin, but like you said, the Rossi, now the Rossi I had, I still haven't fixed it. I was telling you the front sight's fallen out, and you unscrew the tube and it doesn't come out and all that kind of stuff, but it is smoother than the Marlin Dark that I'm borrowing from Chook right now. I'm borrowing a Marlin Dark from Chook, and it is not smooth whatsoever. Like my Henry X, like just walks all over it with smoothness. So and it's a new one supposedly. It wasn't a Remlin, so there's that. So, but
Well,
to answer this question out loud, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these. But like there are better guns than both of them, in my opinion.
yeah, but when it comes to, let's step back to the Remington made Marlins. So when Ruger actually went to go pick up the equipment, they were pulling machines away from the wall, and these walls had deviations. So those machines, they go through repetitions. They're constantly being used.
Mhm.
As those machines wear in, there are tolerances that were written on the walls behind those machines. And
Yep.
so Remington, when they jumped in, lots of the old hats, a lot of the old Marlin guys just jumped out. They took
Yep.
retirement and stuff like that. So when Remington started pumping their guys in, they would jump up on this machine, and they had been in school. They knew how to kind of reference things pertaining to the actual material itself. But the old hats were used to looking at what was written on the wall. As this machine wore in over the years, there were tolerances written on the wall behind it. So
Mhm.
Ruger literally left with machines, and kind of the blueprint was left in the building.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really tough. Ruger, I have high hopes for what they do with the new Marlin stuff, but I'm sure that they're experiencing growing pains as well.
Yeah, I totally get that. The only thing I really want to see from Ruger is a micro grooved barrel 1022. So I want to see that. Like I will jump and I will pay any amount of money that I can afford for that right there. So
Well,
yeah,
I'll tell you what I did, jumping in front of it, not even looking for the micro groove. I got a Summit Precision carbon fiber barrel. I put it in my 1022, and it shoots with my voodoo.
yeah.
So
My
that's
1022, my
huh?
1022 with the Faxon barrel shoots great. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
actually got a Faxon barrel.
Mhm.
It's their flame fluted bull
Yep.
barrel.
Hmm.
But what I need to either rob the trigger group out of my 1022 for testing, or find another quality trigger group, because the trigger group that's in the gun breaks at like 8 pounds, and it's really ugly.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, 8 pound celery um, on my trigger. So that action and barrel need a better trigger so that I can actually go out and do better stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to be doing a video soon of comparing the 1022 to my Tipman. So hopefully we'll see how that works out. But like there's what I like about the Tipman is you can just drop any AR trigger in there, and then you can run drills from your kit, whatever kit you have, and pull those 22 magazines out and stuff like that. It's hard to do with the 1022 because you got different magazines sticking in the kit weird.
Yeah,
Um, so, but
yeah,
yeah,
agreed.
I can't wait to actually compare it to my Tipman. All right, let's answer some questions here. Hunter Kirk's been waiting quite a bit. Your thoughts on the Brennicky KO slug, 1 ounce at 1,650 feet per second. I don't want to stand in front of it. That's for sure. Is it soft lead or hard lead? That's the question. If it's soft lead, it's a deer gun. If it's hard lead, it's a good bear slug. Like, but that's where I'm at. What do you think? Have you used that?
I have some literally 12 feet below me that I haven't tested yet, so I can't speak.
Yeah, I have some right over here. I hadn't tested yet either. Let's see. Glad I caught another live chat. Thoughts on Hornady SSTs for 308? My 18-inch Ruger GSR seems to love them in the factory office. Just not sure how it'd fare for terminal ballistics. What grain, Kyle Loper? Um, if it's a 180 grain and it's going kind of slow out of an 18-inch barrel, you might get that bullet to hold together. But if it's 150 grain, I mean, 308 does not lose a lot of velocity in 150 grain in an 18-inch barrel. I've got bullets going almost 2,900. I've got, I'm not even at max in the Barnes manual. I'm going 2890 with the Barnes bullets at 150 grain in an 18-inch AR-10, 2890. So I just don't think that the SST is really built well. I've tried to shoot deer with it, and I've hit deer with it, and all I found was hair, no blood, because it takes a while for their body cavity to fill up with blood in order for them to start squirting. It can take hundreds of yards sometimes, and I've never found a deer I shot with SST. And it was iron sights, but it was 25 yards straight through the shoulder. I mean, yeah, I'm not, and it was 165 grain, 16-inch 308, so it should have been going pretty dang slow. And so I'm not a big fan of SSTs. Any non-bonded ballistic tip, I stay away from for anything bigger than coyote. What about you, Pat? What do you think?
Something I'm going to add, this isn't that load, but if you take the Maker's 308, I
Mhm,
witnessed this firsthand. You take the Maker's bullet, which is a solid copper machined bullet,
mhm.
and you hit a deer with that. It gives the most I don't know how to say it. It's unsettling, the thwarp that the body cavity makes when it hits, and it gives good blood out both sides. And the deer that was hit, as it ran through the brush, it painted the brush. Like there, it was just like you just went through there and just painted blood all over the brush. So take the Maker's 168 grain for the 308, load it up, get your accuracy, and be prepared. That was just the most, I don't know, sig- auditorily significant body cavity thump I've ever heard with proven blood.
Nice. Yeah, all copper bullets, especially if they're made to expand but stay together, they are tough bullets. I mean, they go through anything. I shot my moose with a 127 grain Barnes LRX. So the Maker's bullets, I've heard nothing but good things. Them and Hammer and all the rest of them. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I've got a Maker's. Is it here? Yeah, here it is. So, can we handle expanded rounds on film?
yeah, yeah, sure, why
All
not?
right. So, this is a 4570. That went to 1.68 inches out of a 4570.
Little squirrel gun bullet, huh?
Yeah, little squirrel gun. I shot a hog right through the heart with it, and the thermal, you could literally just watch every heartbeat coming out of the thermal. It was unreal. So I'm not sponsored by Makers. Makers doesn't know who I am, but I promise you, I swear by these.
Well, yeah, they can sponsor me. Anyway, let's see. 308 SSCs perform very questionable. Too fast, too slow, and they don't perform well on target. Yeah, or too slow, I'm sure. I do not have a PSA Jackal 300 blackout. You have one?
No, I don't. I'm seeing some kind of questionable stuff, which actually 3 to 4 years ago, what was the first gathering that PSA had?
It was about
I
4 years
guess,
ago. Yeah,
yeah, somewhere around
I've
there.
never been, so
So they had the engineer there, they had the Jackal prototype on the line. I showed up with a very notable camera crew, and we're like, hey, man, we'd actually like to interview you. We would like to talk to you about the Jackal. That dude did anything but squirm, wobble, wiggle, move, deny any freaking type of interview about the Jackal. And so we're just like, you know, it's in its infancy. We'd like to get in your ear. We'd like to talk to you. And the dude would not cooperate at all. So we literally, I don't want to drop names, but it's literally the biggest gun forum in the world.
Right.
And I was traveling with those guys with their cameras, and we had media credentials around our necks saying who we were, and they denied us any type of media coverage. And so now to see that 3 to 4 years later, that the Jackal is actually being released with some issues. I don't really want to call too much to the issues because the one dude that's doing it's like beating the dead horse. So yeah, 4 years later, I'm still not seeing very good stuff coming out of the Jackal.
Yeah. I've not heard about the issues. You do you want to explain on that, or you
Well,
know?
I mean, first and foremost, the dude, like I said, I'm not calling anything to it because he actually didn't try to work with PSA. One of my protocols that I like to do, if I take a product and I don't like it, I'll actually tell the people, I'm like, hey, you don't want me to make the video. This is my input at this moment. Let me send you the gun back. Let me something.
I
This
do
is
the
my
same thing.
input at the moment. There is another recent guy that has taken this as a springboard. And the fact that his optics wouldn't fit the Picatinny rail, it speaks really bad on PSA, but it also speaks badly on him because he didn't send the gun back for them to actually work on it. But then again, in the same right, it's called a 1913 Picatinny rail because it's over 100 years old and it's very freaking standardized. If the optics don't fit, that's PSA's fault. The fact that this dude made a 10-minute video beating on the fact that it wouldn't fit, and then he turned around and made another video. And I'm not really gonna, like I said, he doesn't need notoriety because of that. But I've been seeing a few things and some other stuff coming from the forums that the Jackal just really wasn't ready for release. And then 4 years ago, the engineer did not want to give us an interview. So I'm still waiting for better days for that gun.
Yeah, I understand that. Alaskan ballistics question: in the lower 48, would you take a 10 millimeter or 40 mags as your woods gun? And does the answer change for Alaska? It does depend on the state. So where I grew up in Georgia, when I was growing up, they did change it later. But where I grew up in Georgia, they had to you had to have 500 foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards to be able to hunt with the handgun. And so that means my woods gun in Georgia would have had to been a 44 mag. There's some, 41 mags that could have got there. If you had a long barreled 357 Magnum, like an 8-inch, 10-inch barrel, contender or something, you might have been able to get there. Um, but it was 44 mag or 454 or those kinds of things. When I grew up, they did change it to any center fire pistol because what was happening is people had a concealed carry permit. They would have poachers come onto their property, but then they'd have the game warden come onto their property and see a 9 millimeter Beretta or something hanging out for their concealed carry permit, and he'd ticket them for hunting deer with a gun that wasn't correct. And so that got there was a lot of lawsuits over that. I'm just like, hey, I wasn't hunting deer. I was actually doing this, blah blah blah. He illegally took my gun. He didn't listen to my story. He didn't, do anything. And so that's where Georgia changed it. So it would depend on which state uh, I was in. Obviously, if I was out west, I probably wouldn't change it much. 44 mag. If I was in the middle of the country where black bears are very rare and usually not a problem, or in the South where they're usually not a problem. There's a few here and there. I know. I mean, my mom saw one in her neighborhood in North Georgia. Um, 10 millimeter is like would be my choice, all throughout the South. But it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm hunting with it, I would take my 10 millimeter Glock 40 with the 9-inch lone wolf barrel and probably extreme defenders. But if it's a bear or animal defense gun, I would probably stick with the 44 mag from the Great Plains over to the left coast, the West Coast. But I would probably stick 10 millimeter throughout the Great Plains in the East. That's it would matter. Does the answer change for Alaska? I have been generally carrying my 44 Magnum. I've been shooting it better. I've been practicing with it more, though I haven't practiced with it much lately. Um, and I'm comfortable with the fact that I can put them like that, one right after the other, as soon as double action pull, as soon as it comes down, boom, 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 there it goes. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. Um, so that's that. What do you think, Pat? What's your woods gun?
My woods gun varies. So when I come to talking about the rifle that I hunt with, I often hunt with a 30-30 or a 45-70. So I'm never feeling like I'm outclassed when it comes to a bear or needing a sidearm. That being said, the gun that's typically on my side is either a snub nose J frame Model 60 that is loaded with Federal HST, the plus P's, the 130 grain, or I'll actually jump up to my G20, and I usually have the Buffalo Bore 220 grain hard cast. So there is literally no in between. I'm focusing most on my primary arm, and then I'm either carrying a 38, which is like weak sauce, or I'm going to a 220 grain hard cast lead 10 millimeters. So I literally just have no in between. My primary focus is on what is slung around my shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, the difference between Tennessee and Alaska would be, um, well, for caribou, for example, I've got to have a gun that's for range, because where I'm going, you could conceivably take a 800 or 900 yard shot. You shouldn't, but you could. So where I'm going this year, I've been there before, and you could like really do that. So I'm training for about 500 on my North Fork bullets and my 300 Win Mag. That's about how far. In fact, when I open up my phone, there's my drop chart right there. You know, um, from the Straylock app, and it hasn't let me down yet. Um, so I would say that you know here in Alaska it changes because okay, I'm packing. I'm going out 5 miles from camp. I've got all this stuff in my pack to camp with. I've got a rifle, and my handgun is going to be primary because my rifle is going to be in my herbalist stock pack. It's just going to be back there. So anyway, like if I get charged by a bear, I'm not going to try to do this and get all the sling and everything and unbuckle the button buckles that are back there in the herbalist stock, Eberly stock, or however you pronounce it. I'm just going to go like this and fire with my 44, most likely. And so, and I actually have a Serpa holster built onto the molly webbing with the little adapter, so I can put my Glock 20 on my side for not much more weight. And there's a lot of times I carry both Mountain View. There's a lot of times up here I carry both because you never know what you're going to get into, and if 6 rounds doesn't stop him, and I don't make good shots, I'd like to have 15 more. You know, kind of is what it is. That 10 millimeter guy is saying, "Pat is his little boo thing. You're my
What's
little boo
up?
thing."
What's going on, Justin? You
All
know, that
right,
dude actually 2 years ago, Georgia, my truck, Mark Novak gifted me Pig Stick for a year. And I got so excited that I locked my keys in my truck, and Justin had a little lockout kit. And we got my truck open.
nice. That's really nice. That's cool. I didn't know his name was Justin, but that 10 millimeter guy.
Well, I wasn't trying to dox him. I'm sorry, Justin. Your name is like Adam or something, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah,
All
we,
right.
we, we weren't trying to dox you, Justin. Adam,
Right. The
not
165
Adam.
and 180 grain SST hold up a lot better than the 150 grain, which can fragment on impact. I've had the 165 grain fragment on impact, so in 308. So I would, and I've had the 180 grain and 300 Win Mag was just insane. That's the wrong bullet to put in 300 Win Mag. 1911 with the worst machine internals are still better than the best mem parts. There we go. My old 500 pump's real smooth. That could be from thousands of rounds going through it. Yes, it could be. Uh,
It's always because of parts moving on parts.
Absolutely.
The factory can never get you ready for that.
Keith may be right. My 308 SSTs were 150 grain, hit a mule deer 4 times, 30 to 200 yards, all through the boiler room. Yeah, yeah, it is what it is. Do you think it would be more cost effective to fly back to the lower 48 and ship a whole moose worth of meat and a month's legal catch of fish back home, or drive through Canada with it all? Drive through Canada with it all is much more cost effective. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, the bag fees are just enormous. Like after your first or second bag, you're paying a bag fee and a overweight fee for each cooler on the ice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, anything over what is it, 130 inches?
Hmm.
They go height, width, length, and that could be either long or tall or wide, and it's like $150 one way.
If you wanna take a whole moose back, you're talking 400 or 500 pounds of meat. Drive,
Oh, yeah, no, no,
absolutely drive. Yep.
literally, I killed a pig in the Carolinas, and I had to give a hind quarter away to get it to fit into my cooler. So no, a moose. The pig was bigger than me. His nose was on the ground. He was strung up, and he was bigger than me. And I had to give a hind quarter away to get him to fit in there. So let alone a moose, which is bigger than me at the freaking shoulder.
Yeah. Hey, you don't know, like, so I don't know if I told you this story before, but everybody thinks, if you're from the lower 48, you haven't seen one in person. Everybody thinks, "Oh, moose, that's about the same size as a horse." No, the freak they aren't. My very first moose, I was walking my dog. It was 6 a.m. I was walking her down through the neighborhood to the park in Anchorage, and you know how when there's street lights just out of the street, out of the area, the light is not visible, like you're blinded, you have the night vision blindness from the light,
Yeah,
right? That's where the moose was, and she stood up and stomped. And I'm like, "We're going to the other side of the street right here." All right? And that's when I learned they're not the size of a horse. All right? They're like Clydesdales on steroids, man. It's just like it's crazy like how big those animals are. And the one I got this year was like 1,200 pounds on the hoof, you know? So bringing 4, 5, 6, 700 pounds of meat back, you know?
yeah, that's crazy. The pig that I killed was like the scale was broken, and it kind of pegged at 283. And you had to turn him snout to tail for him to be longer than me. And I'm 5'10. I'm literally Mr. America. I'm
Right.
average height, 5'10. And this pig was beyond me. So when it comes to a moose that stands on the hoof above me, that's a completely different class.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Yeah. And then I mean he's also talking a whole catch worth of fish. Yeah, that's gonna be difficult because like moose season is September 1st, and it's hard to bring back a moose and fish at the same time because you're usually done fishing around September 1st. Like the salmon are gone, or they're so far gone when they're dying that they just, they look like something from a science fiction movie, a zombie skin hanging off. That's what they look like. They're crazy.
I've actually seen video of that zombie freaking salmon. They're
Oh,
just so programmed to go upstream that they're in their last days to go upstream and breed.
hmm yep. You nut and then you die. That's the life of a salmon.
Yep.
So it's a good thing I married a better woman than that. Anyway, sorry, that was really dark. Oh, let's see. I want to see a 39A stainless. Yes, me too. Yes. Amen, David Posey. Preach it, brother. I'm shooting Federal Fusion 165 grain out of my Model 70 Combat 20-inch barrel, Bonds 130 grain TTSX out of my Model 70 22-inch barrel, hand loaded to 3250 with tack powder. The Barnes Factory 130 TTSX gets about 3100 out of a 22-inch barrel. Yeah, that 130 grain Barnes in a 30 caliber is a freaking beast of a round because you've got the speed 3250. Like that's what I'm getting with 165, in a 300 Win Mag. So I'm getting like 32, 3250. I could get 33 for sure, and I can get 34, 35 with a 150 grain. And I get 36 with that 130 grain. But man, you're talking about like that's what I like. That's a lot of speed, and that tack powder is amazing. I have bought up every pound of tack powder I could find in Alaska, no matter what the cost recently, because that tack ramshot tack powder is amazing. Um, yeah, you ever played with that 130 grain and tack powder there?
No, I've not. I usually stick when it comes to the 308. I usually try to stick into the 168. I've not ventured too far out from that.
Yeah, so that 130 grain is a great bullet because it's going so fast, but it's a Barnes, so it has the bullet construction of that all copper bullet where it's going to peel back the petals, and so it is very, very much so, like, as good as it I mean, that's as good as a 130 grain 270 right there. You're not gonna get much better than 32 to 50 with a 270 130 grain. So, you can get and you don't actually get much better with the 30-06 130 grain. It's like 3310 in the manual or something like that. So, um, like, that's just a heck of a load, it's a heck of a bullet. And you talk about flat shooting, like, there's you don't I mean, it doesn't have a high BC, so obviously, once you get past 4 or 500 yards, it's starting to fall off, but for normal hunting distances, that's what most people do, and that 130 grain TTSX just does that awesome to do. Have you heard of 12 gauge slugs failing to detonate when exposed to water? That seems like it could be disastrous in a bear encounter situation. I talk about this all the time. Go look at my top 10 bear guns video, Anonymous F. Uh, Shotgun slugs are 99% not waterproof. Um, you could put some primer sealant around it. You could put candle wax around the top, but the wadding around the slug is not a is I don't know. It's not a shot cup. There's splits in it, and so if water gets in the top of your slug, it usually makes it down to the powder. Not always, but yeah. That I solved that problem by buying a 4570. So that's what I did to solve that problem. But yes, so on my first caribou hunting trip, my buddy, God rest his soul, and he died of cancer a few years ago. But like my uh, he carried my 12 gauge. We dumped the kayak we were in, and boxes of 12 gauge slugs of all different kinds were just that. Started dating this girl, took her to the gun range. I was like, "This is the biggest, most powerful slug ever. It's the Brennigy Black Magic Magnum." Boom, boom, click. Not a single one of them fired. So yeah, it can be disastrous. Primer sealant or nail polish or candle wax on the front. I've actually had duck rounds lately not being waterproof. Like that sucks. I've actually gone click. Oh, there's my shot. Darn it. So you ever had that happen?
I've not gotten many slugs wet. Um, I we don't have a great deal of water here. Our only lakes are man-made, so I don't have a whole lot of, I don't know, litmus test to put them through.
Yeah, it's not a bog. You have swamps, but your whole state's not a bog. Yeah, I mean, up here, what are you generally doing when you need a 12 gauge for bear? Fishing. And what are you generally doing fishing? Wading in the river. And it's not a great combination. That's why guides use 4570 more than 12 gauge by far, or even 44 Magnum lever actions or stuff like that. So
Yeah, and I'd much rather use 4570.
absolutely, because you have a metallic cartridge that's crimped in. That crimp will keep the water out. You put some primer sealant on it, and there you go. So
Yep.
what is the furthest game you have shot an AK? 459 yards on the caribou. And do you have a self-imposed range limit? 5 to 600 yards, depending on the rifle and loadout, of course. My range limit, if I'm carrying 6.5 Creedmoor, is 300. It's about 500 for my 6.5 by 284. My 7 millimeter rim mag is about 700. Like I'm that confident with it. My 300 Win mag is probably going to be about 500, maybe 400. I'm not that confident with it. I've just finally got some loads that are making me confident. And that's that. So it depends on the rifle. My 6.5 by 284, 450 to 500. You know, I should have taken the shot at 541 last year instead of letting my buddy run around naked with my rifle. So, yeah. Did I tell you that story, Pat?
Go ahead.
It's okay. So this is what happened on my caribou hunting trip last year. All right. I'm going with a friend. Okay. I won't mention his name. He's a good guy. He likes guns. He's pro Second Amendment. He's kind of like a liberal when it comes to the environment, though, and he'll listen to anybody's opinion and like argue the other side. I'm kind of that way, right? He's a good guy, though. So I pick him up from the airport. He's coming home from South Carolina or something like that. I pick him up from the airport, take him to his house. We grab all his hunting stuff, and then we take off for the August 4th. Um, and so it was only going to be about 5 or 6 days of hunting. And we get in there, and it took us a long while to walk in because you have to walk 5 miles off the road, and it is tundra, which is not the easiest walking. Um, some tundra is easier than others, but like if you imagine putting a field of bowling balls and then putting memory foam all over it, that's what some of the tundra is like walking on. Um, but we have to cross some rivers and all this other stuff. We get out there, and he's got a pack raft, I got a pack raft, and I'm dead tired because I'm a fat boy who just made this journey with an 80-pound pack, right? And I'm asleep the first night when I hear Chuck, and he's butt naked in the river when I come out of the tent bathing, and there's a caribou bull sitting right there at 541 yards, and my rifle's last little holdover with no wind is 542 yards. I should have taken the dang shot, right? Even though it was my 6.5 by 284, I should have taken the shot. But he convinces me, said, Chuck, you weren't going to shoot over 400 yards. And I'm like, okay. He goes, I can make it across there pretty quickly. So I hand the gun to him, and his dumb ass doesn't know to turn the scope power down when the caribou's only 28 yards away. He ran to the other side of this island, found a caribou 28 yards away. There was another bull with him we didn't see who was already on the backside of this island. And he was actually bigger too. And he didn't know to turn the scope power down. And he hadn't shot my rifle. We only carried one rifle because of the weight. The weight is just hard to carry out there. So we were doing everything we could to save weight. One handgun, one rifle between the two of us. Um, and so one of us would have the other one at any given time, right? And so he was chasing these caribou butt ass naked around, everything hanging out around this island, and he eventually drove them back up to me, but I couldn't get a shot. They were just running too fast, and I had the 10 millimeter, the Glock 20. So how cool would that have been if I had ran farther? I guess it was upstream. If I had ran farther upstream, I could have got to where I cut them off, but I only ran about halfway of what I needed to, and that was not, you know, not ideal. Um, so 3 days later, this is the funniest part of the story. 3 days later, he decides to take a hike trip way upstream towards, which is actually south, but he's going way upstream, and he decides to take a float trip and back down. And I stay at camp, and I'm watching this cow caribou on the same island, but farther out to my right, about 800 yards away. And it's not legal to kill cows anymore, like pretty much anywhere in the state. There's a few exceptions, but anyway, so I'm just sitting there watching her. She's digging up the rocks and eating the lichen underneath, like they like to do. She lays down and takes a nap. I lay down and take a nap. I walk back up, see her, wake back up, see her again. She wakes back up, that kind of thing. This is going on for about 4 hours, right? All of a sudden, I wake up from a nap, and there's my buddy standing there with his big blue pack raft. He's standing with his waders in the water, and this cow caribou comes running up to him like 2 or 3 or 4 times. I can't remember how many times, but I'm talking like 15 feet, not yards, feet away from him, just staring him down and then running away. Does it like 3 or 4 times. And he goes, What was that all about?" When he made it back to camp, I go, "That was the funniest thing I've ever seen, but I know exactly what was happening." And he goes, "You know exactly why she did that?" "Yeah, she talked to those bulls the other night, figured out how well hung you are, and she wanted some love, dude." So yeah, so he's one of these guys that's picky when he's dating girls, and he's always dating a new girl. And I go, Have you told her about your other boo? Your other boo thing? Because we call caribou up here boo for short, right? So, have you told her about your other boo? So, yeah, yeah, and I'm not lying. I mean, if it were me naked, they'd walk away. They need to go find a magnifying glass. But this guy, I mean, is like, whoa, I don't want to see all that. But it is, it's just like, wow, okay. Um, so glad Courtney didn't meet you first. Anyway, so um,
So I've actually got you one. One of the recent events that I went to, one of the guys I was traveling with was waiting on another vendor. And so I took when we sat down at the table, I'm like, yeah, we're waiting on a plus one. She'll be here after a while, you know. So I'm speaking for dude and the vendor that's showing up. Well, anyway, these two guys popped over at the bar, and the one guy was like, hey man, I'm a subscriber. I've been watching your stuff. You mind if we pulled up a table? So they actually pulled up a table and the dudes were sitting there. So here I am talking about a plus one female, right? So this dude that I know, I had no clue he was showing up there. His name's Taylor. Taylor goes male or female, right? So Taylor's coming through their door, and I'm like, "What's up, man?" You know, I ran over and I meet him, and I'm like, "Hey, man, we're going to be over here," you know, blah blah blah. And then I go to the restroom, and I come back and I sit down. One of the dudes at the table, he's like, "Hey, man, like I understand." And I was like, "What do you mean you understand?" He said, "Taylor, you know, I understand how it goes." And I'm like, "No, dude, no, no, no." And he's like, "Man, I'm from the city. I understand." I'm like, "No."
yeah,
So yeah, that kind of goes with your whole boo thing, not boo thing, but yeah,
yeah,
one of the embarrassing moments from the road recently.
yeah, yeah. So but that's one of those caribou hunting stories you literally can't make up. That's a hunting story you can't make up. So,
Yeah, no, she talked about her boo thing, and the dude next to me was like, "Yeah, man, I'm from the city. It's okay."
mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah, no, that's funny. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Brad Kiefer's in the chat. Good to see you. Remember my brother-in-law's moose he hunted last fall. He had to use a 44 Magnum hardcast because it was up close. The area he shot turned all the meat into mushy, bloody pudding. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, one-stop shot. Yeah, you can do that. The gathering and guns that don't work. Remember that one for the time at the SIG booth? Yeah. What's up, Kevin Collins? How you doing? Did the Marlin Dark have a malfunction? I have not shot it yet. I have not even cleaned it. I have not shot it yet. Um, Pat's got one that's all boogered out and tactical, and I don't think yours just has any problems, does it?
no, mine's actually Remington made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. What is up, Travis Chapin? Good to see you. Nope, we don't have a PSA Jackal 308. I would love to have a PSA Jackal 308 if there's not any issues with it. I am the Trapper myself, yeah. And I've just posted links to like the Trapper on a couple different places like last week. So check out my arms directory and MeWe pages and all that stuff. I'm sure Pat has links to it too. All right, have a good night, Justin Perryman. I carry 10 millimeter in the woods here in Michigan, then the same when I'm in Detroit. I'm working on this editing right now, and I'm editing this video of 9 millimeter with clear ballistics gel. And I'm just doing a bunch of 9 millimeters. I got 4 layers of denim. I had so many tons of failures to expand from different high premium ammos. I've been carrying my 40 and my 10 mil most of the time. Like, it's like screw that. If they're going to fail to expand, they're going to be a bigger hole. You know, that's the way I see it. All right. Maybe it's just me. What's up, Hudge76? Greetings all from Pennsylvania. Hey guys, my woods gun is a G22 converted to 357 SIG. Plenty for my area. My rifle would obviously be my 6.8 Western. There you go. Montana Musings outdoor channel is trying to save the 6.8 Western. He's trying to save it from the what do you call it? The wood chipper of history, dust grinder of history. It's a nice caliber. Like, it has some really good things, and it's way better than, like, it's producing the numbers it says it should, unlike the 7 millimeter PRC. So there is that, you know. So What do you think about the 6.8 Western Pat?
That's one of those times I've observed it from afar, but I have not partaken. So I don't know. I feel like my opinion is moot.
I can agree with that. That's how I feel about it. It's like it's probably the best 270 caliber, .277 inch bullets, the 6.8 Western. Like as far as like it's got the better twist rate, so you can use a heavier bullet, unlike the Weatherby or the Winchester. And of course, the 6.8 SPC2 is just a small little AR-15 thing. So what's up,
Well,
Jet Fight?
there are times when things need to come out, and there are times when the grocery store bill is going to run you $100 for just a couple bags. When it
Yeah,
comes to great cartridges, let's say that the 6.8 was going to be the solve all, be all. When you go to the grocery store and it costs you $100 to leave, and you literally left with nothing, it doesn't leave a lot of folks with room to adopt it. And so the 6.8 Western may have been something great. It was just introduced at the wrong time.
they should have waited 5 or 6 years.
Well, you always want to just jump out because money has a burn rate. I've
Right.
made lots of investments in the past. I've invested in housing, I've invested in properties, I've invested in lots of stuff. Money has a burn rate. So when
Yeah.
I want to introduce this house, it's like now. When I want to introduce this property, it's like now because money has a burn rate. So when it comes to 6.8 Western, if they had it developed, if it's ready to go, bring it now. But then again, you're cutting off a whole bunch of gun enthusiasts because 3 bags at the grocery store are going to cost you $100.
Yeah.
It was literally just possibly a wrong time because of inflation.
Actually, so up here, we didn't have a lot of rifle rounds on the shelf. There was no 270, no 30-06, no 308, no 300 Win Mag, nothing on the shelf for about 4 months, 4 to 5 months during the great ammo shortage. And that's when it came out. And a lot of people bought it up here just because it was the only thing on the shelf you could get ammo for. Well, I want to buy a new gun in 30-06. Cool. You got ammo? No. What do you mean you don't got this ammo? Where have you been? Living under a rock? You know? Um, and so the they a lot of people bought a 6.8 Western simply for the fact that there was ammo boxes on the shelf. There was 165 grain AccuBond right on the shelf for it, you know, and it's essentially a 22 WSM with a faster twist rate, you know.
And you could probably say the same about 350 Legend.
Yeah,
Literally, there were multiple times I went to the gun store and freaking nothing but 350 Legend. So we're not stuck with straight wall calibers.
right.
But there were people in the state buying 350 Legend because that's what they could find. Does it
Yep.
make it great? No. Did it make it available at the time? Yeah.
I think that's one of the better hunting AR cartridges. Like if you want to hunt deer or black bear, but you want to use your AR-15 platform, not AR-10, then I think that 350 Legend and the 400 Legend are probably your best two cartridges. And the reason why I say that is if you have a quality upper and parts, they don't have feeding issues. They use 9mm bullets and 10mm bullets respectively, which means you can load up hard cast to where it's going to expand and mushroom if you hit bone, but it's still going to hold together because it's hard cast, and
Yeah.
you can load up extreme defenders where they're going to do all sorts of tearing up because they're going instead of going 1,500 feet per second out of a 9mm, they're going 2,900 feet per second. So there's all sorts of cool things that you can do with those two cartridges. And okay, well, there are some 165 grain, you know, uh, subsonic hollow points for 9mm. Well, now you could load those up in 350 Legend and have actually still have some bullet left over when it hits something. So it's pretty cool. 165 grain and 30-06 for me. There's nothing in North America with the right bullet you could take with that. Oh, I love my old Mossberg 500 pump 12. Got to 4 to 10 bump bullet extra shotguns. There you go. Go heavier in 30-06. I'd go with 180 grain. I've not been attacked, but there's some GoPro footage of people being attacked on snow machines. Yeah, this was a question earlier. Has everybody been attacked off a four wheeler or snowmobile? Yes, people have. I knew a guy who swore he had a bear run up beside him on his four wheeler. He took his 38 special out of his pocket and popped it in the ear hole, and it went down. I don't know what kind of bullets he had in it. He didn't say, but it was literally the bear is like right here from him, and he goes boop, and like one shot. I mean, everything's got ear holes, and he happened to have the ear hole right there. You know, so it was like running up next to him and nipping at the four wheeler, not at him, his body. So that's an interesting story. Is that why you carry that 38 special in the woods?
Yeah, I'm just I've got a 38 that means a lot to me. So
I get it.
it's part sentimental, the fact that my family member carried it as a backup in his day to day.
Hmm.
Um, and then the fact that the federal HST 130 grain plus P's actually perform to FBI standards too. So
That's not bad. All right, let's see. Y'all think 220 grain is too much for moose? 220 grain 30-06? No. Awesome. Two of my favorite channels, chopping it up 100%. That's right, Gunmetal Guy USA. You're a new favorite fanboy. It's a new favorite comment till I read the next one. All right. Yeah, there's a bunch of YouTube moose attack on snowmobiles. Super Remington super long range 172 grain for moose. Okay. Let's see. Hootie Who did a video today about 30-06 loads. Yeah, there's some good ones out there. 102 yards, heavy bullet will get it done. Yep, absolutely. Had a 308 years ago, traded for a 7.62 by 54 arm. I I, I don't know. Did make that trade with modern 308 powders and stuff. Man, it's more powerful than that 7.62 by 54 R. It's not even close.
yeah, when he says years ago, maybe it made sense, but yeah, 7.62 by 54. I really wouldn't call it a slouch, but I also just did not like the corrosive primers.
Yeah. And even if you got modern brass cased American made ammo, because Winchester makes it, and PPU, Preview Partisan makes non corrosive brass powders for it. Even if you have soft points for that, they're not doing what 30-06 would do. They're not doing what a modern 308 would do. You know, I would love to have one, but I want the spam can of the corrosive primer steel core stuff. That's what I want, and you can't find that anymore. Like I didn't jump on it when I should have. So
So now I want to interject something that I could not film, I could not photograph, but I was at a an American ammunition loader. All right. I'm trying to not say anything here because I don't want to lose their respect. But when I showed up to this place, this dude, he was like, "Hey man, keep your phone in your pocket." They actually had 7.62 by 54R that was loaded in brass cases with modern bullets that were heading to the Ukraine. So there were 13,000 rounds sitting on just a couple of pallets, and I couldn't film it. What I would love to see is the performance that they rang out of the 7.62 by 54R to actually send it to the Ukraine or today. I would love to see those rounds, but I
yeah,
wasn't allowed to picture. I wasn't allowed to film. I don't even want to mention the name of the company because I don't want to lose their respect. But I would love to see what they came up with for 2024.
yeah, I agree. They're the smaller species of moose here. They can squish the pudding out of you. Yep. Yeah, y'all have the Shiras moose, which is smaller subspecies, but still a big animal. Do you stay with the same grain weight that you would shoot a bonded bullet when shooting copper bullets? I like to go down with copper bullets because they will hold their weight better, and they need speed. So if you're shooting a 180 grain 30-06, you're going to really limit your range if you're shooting 180 grain 30-06 Barnes TTSX or Maker bullets or Hammer. So there's nothing wrong with going down to a 150 grain in 30-06 with that Barnes bullet. It will take any game on North America that your 180 grain bonded bullet would. But also, it just depends on how accurately you shoot them. Now, remember, okay, so you got 180 grain 30-06 or 308 or whatever. or 300 Win Mag, whatever, you got 180 grain. It's going to be a lot longer bullet in your copper bullet than it is in your bonded lead core. So you're not going to get the same speed because, or you're going to get more pressure because the bullet is sticking down into the case deeper and there's less powder capacity to burn. So do what you will with that. All right, I tried 155 grain XTPs over 1640 through my 5-inch 10mm Sunday into some gel. Pretty gnarly on the wound cavity, also well into the 41 Magnum territory on performance. You know, if you shot 41 Magnum out of the same length of barrel with the maximum load these days, 10mm does not equal 41 Magnum. Like I don't care what load you come up with for 10mm. If you come up with the same pressures or the same things, 10mm just does not equal 41 Magnum. All right, that is a myth. They'll never say that blasphemy again, 10mm, that 10mm guy. I know patch your boo thing, but yeah, I'm gonna tell you straight up like it is. 10mm is not 41 Magnum. Because a lightweight bullet in 41 Magnum is a 210 grain XTP, and you can get it easily going that 1640 in a 5-inch gun. How do I know? Because it was going 1900 in a 10-inch gun. So I know in a 5-inch gun it'd be in the 1600s. Heck, even if it's in the 1500s, it's still going to produce a lot more foot-pounds of energy from the muzzle. Like you're saying right here, 920 foot-pounds. Like, okay, like I can get well over 920 foot-pounds with a 41 Magnum. That's not even close. They are not the same territory. All right. That's a great load for your 10mm. I like it. I've had one like it. Um, but yeah, what powder did you use? That's what I want to know. Anybody shied the new Ranshot Grand yet? I have not. They shoot flat number at Chuck because the bullet tip has a boat tail design. Bullet with boat tail. I have one competition shoots. Great. Not exact. I have a few pounds of it, and we have heard great things for 6.5 through 300. We'll see. Fluffy 10mm for 25 years. My LA career in Michigan. The bad guy loses all interest in shooting at you when you return fire with the 10mm. 444 Marlin. See, a lot of people love this 444 Marlin. You can't get you can't get ammo or guns for it anymore. So
Yeah, 444 Marlin, it has its own very well, it has its own attributes that lend itself to be almost equal to the 4570.
yeah,
And part of it's even in the shooting experience. 444 Marlin just bakes off a little quicker. You can literally, when you're pulling it up your shoulder, it just spikes up a little bit quicker. It just feels a little bit more superior. And I don't like the fact that the 444 Marlin doesn't lend itself to be as popular as the 4570. So that kind of hurts my heart.
all right. Rich B says, when it comes to rifles, I am really a newbie. I have a buddy who wants to build me an AR-10 for my first one. Go 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor, mainly deer hunting here in Georgia. So neither one of them kick in an AR-10. All right. In a bolt gun, especially a lightweight bolt gun, 308 is going to kick a lot more than 6.5 Creedmoor. I would say if it's for hunting, go with 18 or 20-inch barrel, maybe even 22 AR-10, and there's nothing in North America you can't take. There's so many different types of bullets you can hand load and buy and all that kind of stuff. So many those type of ammo you can buy. I say go AR-10, go 308. I love 6.5 Creedmoor. I own 4 6.5 Creedmoor rifles. I love the caliber. I'm a fanboy, but 308's a better hunting cartridge. So kind of is what it is. So, especially for deer hunting, get that bigger 30 caliber hole. 30 caliber hole really does well. And good luck hunting in Virginia. Make sure that the rifle's legal. Like they have all sorts of rules. You might have to have only a 5-round magazine, stuff like that for hunting purposes. So make sure you do that.
The only
How do you,
knock I have on a 6.5. So I had 4 hours, sight in a 6.5 and take it out to 1,000 yards. And I did so. The 6.5 doesn't kick much, but the break that was on the Springfield 2020, when I shot it, it lifted my muff just ever so slightly, and I still have a ring in my right ear. That's the
Mm,
only problem that I see with a 6.5. It was
I think
equipped with a brake, though it should have been equipped with a silencer.
agreed. It sounds more like a problem with the rifle than the caliber, because it's the same
Yeah,
thing. Same thing would have happened worse if you'd shot the same gun exactly set up the same way in 308 because it has more recoil. So,
yeah, but it literally just lifted my ear just enough, my earmuff,
mm,
and forever I have this right ear tinnitus.
I
It's low
always,
level,
yeah,
and I wish that I had earned it from a more notable caliber.
wish you had a better story behind that, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. That's why I always double up with plugs and muffs. I,
Yeah, the problem is half the time I go to these places, I'm always talking to a camera. I'm always talking to other people. So let's say I'm using active earmuffs that are electronic and I put earplugs in. It keeps me from being able to hear the people. So it's kind of this catch 22. It's just
I
my
put
role.
Yeah, I put passive ear muffs. I was talking to Eric from Iraq Veteran 88 going, "What?" With I had earplugs in here and all that kind of stuff. So, like, you were there, you saw me. I had plugs and muffs. I had to sit down in the tents for a while just because my ears couldn't take it. So,
And then I accidentally called him Chad because I don't know.
just kicking back. Got a lot of. Let's see, would 450 Bushmaster be a good brush gun? Absolutely.
Oh, 450 Bushmaster. Holy crap. So when it comes to 450 Bushmaster, if you take your velocity and you're trying to figure out your kinetic energy, you put your velocity and your bullet weight in there and you come up with the same freaking number as 4570. But for some reason, 450 Bushmaster breaks more chains and more hardware when I'm shooting steel targets. I don't know how or why, but literally, when you put it into the equation, it's the same energy down range. It's just, I don't know, it breaks more mechanical stuff.
Is it because the bullet's just slightly smaller, that 0.452 inches instead of 0.458?
You want to kind of speculate on stuff like that. I don't know, but literally, velocity squared times bullet mass, blah blah blah. Like it comes out to the same numbers, but I also have to walk down range and fix more stuff.
Yeah,
So I kind of think that might equate into bone and or other masses in animals.
yeah, that's cool. 10 millimeter fluffy Jeep guy. I have everything for an 8.6 blackout build. I just need a bolt, muzzle device, can, and ammo. There you go. I have posted a bunch of links to Faxon. Faxon has all the 8.6 blackout stuff you need. So if you go check out my AD page or my MeWe page, especially my MeWe page, there's stuff there, man. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. And 8.6 blackout's kind of a cool little caliber, especially for deer hunting suppressed, because you can get those 300, 350 grain bullets or 250 to 300 grain bullets and be suppressed. Of course, that's not any different than you suppressing your lever actions over there. So,
Oh
let's,
yeah, we love a
uh,
suppressed lever gun.
Peter McRae, I carry a 6.5, 629 classic 5 inch. I use the 255 grain buffalo bore hard cast. In my experience, they penetrate very, very close to the 340 grain plus B plus. Because the 340 grain plus B plus will deform because it's going so hard and fast, and the 255 grain hard cast doesn't hardly deform at all. And so it actually penetrates about the same. That's what I use. The 305 is a great compromise between the two. So I have not crossed any grain projectiles in an M39. There you go. Just bought an M1 Garand. Yes, good job, Christopher Abernathy. Way to have taste. Hotep, what is up, man? How you doing? Well, let's see. I wish for a 19 M1903A3 Springfield or a 1917 Enfield than a M1 Garand. Why? I just like the look. Nah, yeah. M1 Garand's a nice gun though.
Yeah, I want a grand. I'll have a grand on this wall one day.
Yeah. 8.10 grains of 800X. Weird on the load because Chauncey loaded up his 41 mag with those 210s, just you say from a more 4 to 5.8, and is only getting 650 base sit. Then he didn't load them up very well. He did not load them up very well. Yeah, that's I mean, those are minimum foot pounds of energy for 41 mag. That's ridiculously bad. Yeah. So he was loading up target loads there, man. I mean, I've had those XTP 210 grains go up over 1800 feet per second. Granted, it was a 10-inch barrel, but then we loaded up the 220 grain buffalo bores. Like if you take the buffalo bore for each cartridge, the bear loads, like the 10 millimeter is nowhere near close to 41 magnums. It's half. It's literally quite half the 41 magnum. So anyone that says a 10 millimeter is a 41 magnum is a damn liar. Can't read a ballistics chart. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. So I love you, that 10 millimeter guy I see on Instagram all the time. Not saying you're a bad person, but anyone who says 10 millimeter is a 41 magnum can't read a ballistics chart. So I mean, they probably graduated from high school in Tennessee or something. I mean, Georgia. I mean, Alabama. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. We actually have one of the worst education here in Alaska, and I'm the teacher too, so I guess it's my fault. But yeah, no, I will harp on that all day long. I've done the video. I have a 9-inch barrel Glock versus a 10-inch barrel um, Thompson Contender. It's not even close. Not even close. It's literally half. Algebra to me, pi equals a full belly.
Yeah, I just don't do the whole 3.14 and I don't get up full belly.
Yeah. 3.14157, 159. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what it is. 3.14159.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to go beyond that. My GPA in my local college was a 3.92, so I don't go farther than that.
There you go. I don't think one of Faxon's barrels might not fit the gas block I'm about to buy. The rifle speed gas block. I mean, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that rifle speed. I have rubbed elbows with those guys and I've shot their guns. I need that rifle speed on one of my guns so that I can move further.
Yeah, I just removed somebody who doesn't know how to conversate from the chat. He said all gun owners are going to, and didn't say where, but I'm like, well, not really.
Well, I invite you to send me there. Let's see who wins.
Yeah, I had a 1.74 GPA in high school, but because who cares? It's high school. Well, yeah. I mean, there you go. That's why you think 10 millimeter is a 41 Magnum. Sorry, brother.
No, see, I was probably like, I don't know, a 2 point whatever in high school because I figured out how to win. The teachers actually, when they dropped the syllabus, they said that tests are worth 70% of the grade. And I knew that all I had to do is wake up on a Friday and get 100. Like
Yep.
you tell me the tests are worth 70% of the grade. I literally wake up on one day, get 100, pass with a 70 with maybe one homework to bump me to like a 71.2. But then
There
when
you
I
go.
went to college, I actually put forth the effort, 3.92 for me.
Cool. Yeah. I was, yeah, I was I was like 3.7 in high school and 3.9 in college. Like I remember I made 6 Bs during college. 6 Bs. Everything else was A's. So, but I was a PE major. So, because I wanted to coach football. So I had the easy, cushy job, easy degree. D's get degrees.
Yeah, no, the cool thing about the degree, I have a degree in electromechanical. The
Hmm.
really cool thing about it is I pulled a couple of jobs because they just looked at the degree and they said, "Well, you have the ability to learn." Completely unrelated. I got the job because the degree shows the capacity to learn.
Absolutely. So we got another one of these guys in here, Niall Stanton. Put all gun owners in jail. Well, why don't you put Biden in jail? Why don't you put Obama in jail for running guns to Mexico and Eric Holder? All right. Why don't you put the Clintons in jail who have 56 people that killed themselves or 53 friends that killed themselves? killed themselves. Yeah. All right. Why don't we put abortion clinic doctors in jail who kill babies that science proves is alive? Okay. How are you going to take away guns from 350 million plus guns from Americans? How are you going to do that? Put all gun owners in jail. Okay. If you do that, only the government has guns. So this is why you're about the stupidest person on the face of the planet, Niles. You literally have a sack of shit for brains. Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go there. You want to listen to this? Okay, Niles Stanton. Okay, put gun owners in jail for what? I have a natural born right to defend myself. Okay. I'm not going out and killing children in a school. You know what I'm prevented from doing? I'm preventing from saving those children in the school because I am a school teacher and I don't have my Second Amendment rights to actually save children. So come back in here, Niles Stanton, and we'll debate you. But if you just put up dumb shit like that, you have shit for brains. You are absolutely Niles Stanton. You are brainwashed and you are an absolute fucktard.
So I'm actually going to do the opposite. Niall Stanton has words. I have the guns. I have nothing to prove.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, that was a good rant to end it on tonight. So Pat, what do you got coming out, and how can tell everybody about your channel if they don't know it yet?
All
But
right. So right now it is the doldrums of the summer. I am just kind of hanging out, waiting for you guys to get ready to watch videos. I am building the 6th studio right now. It's not populated, but it very much will be. I'll have better lighting. I'll have all this other stuff. I've got some cool stuff coming up once this happens. We're going to move forward in 2024 and 2025 like you've never seen. I actually think it would be great if I could get up to Alaska and go see Chuck, go see Chook. It would be cool to run into those guys. So I've got lots of cool stuff coming up here domestically with Broad Dreams. Well, actually, Alaska is still domestic, but not continental. So,
it's still continental. It's just not contiguous.
yeah, it's not continuous.
When they
I just
say continental United States, I'm like, we are on the continent. By definition, we are continental United States. But a
we're
lot of
pretty
people were taught.
But our Canadian brothers don't have the same freedoms as we do, and I really don't care to rub elbows with those guys.
Yeah. Hey, nobody advocates violence here, the real dreadlock boy.
Yeah,
So
no, there was no advocation of violence.
there's
That
no
was just
advocation
it.
of violence here. Know who does violence? Liberals. Liberal Democrats. They kill babies. They want to take taxes from you with SWAT teams that come in from the IRS. All right? That's
And
violent.
their protests are mostly peaceful.
Yeah, mostly peaceful. All right. Yeah, right. And then, the liberals are the violent ones. They're the ones who enslaved black people. All right? It was liberal Democrats, the Republicans freedom. Okay? So, I like can I write you in, please? Yeah, you can write me in. I'll write you in, Rich, if you write me in. Okay, I've got one vote on my presidential campaign. There we go. All right. You know, I would love to. I would love to get into politics when I get some things worked out in my life. Like I would run for office when I get some things worked out in my life. So,
The wild thing is, I don't have the skeletons in my closet, but I don't want to run my family through the mess.
I agree.
So they could be like, we're going to find dark stuff on you, Pat. And they'll find literally nothing. And then they'll attack.
They'll make it up. Yeah, they'll
children.
make it up anyway.
Yeah, they'll figure out a way to attack somehow. So, yes, my children are mostly raised. My politics, maybe I could do the thing, but I don't know.
Do you guys talk about fishing in an AK ever? Yeah, I've talked about fishing. We got 207 fish this year with my wife's family set netting. We had to throw a shark back. If you'd watch the channel, I have my wife, who's the big brave one. I'm the little pansy here filming it, throwing a shark back in the water.
Oh,
So
dude, I want to catch something that'll bite me back. I want to kill something that'll kill me while it's dying. That's the thing, dude.
Well, then you need to come up here. All right, guys. We have a 9mm video coming out soon. As soon as I get all the stuff to edit it, and we'll see what's going on with that. And hopefully it'll come out this week. I've been saying that every single freaking week. Don't forget our like after chats where I'm loading up ammo some nights. We're gonna probably have a couple of those this week as well. And those are like the vertical, non-formal kind of chats. So, Lars, what does this mean that you have to rep for the liberals? If you're a liberal, get the hell out of here. If you're going to rep for the liberals, all right. If you're a liberal, you voted for gun control and Biden and Murkowski. We are not the same. So I wouldn't mind Chuck run for senator or House rep. Yep. You are 100 times more likely to be a victim of gun violence if a family member has one. Oh, Trent Biggs, you're just an idiot. I'm sorry.
Bring that statistic to my house.
Yeah.
Apply it
My
to my house.
my 2.5-year-old knows gun safety and he's never picked one up. So
No,
Trent, yeah, my 2.5-year-old Trent. So he's smart. My 2.5-year-old smarter than you. Yep.
literally bring that statistic to my house and realize that you're more at harm if you try to come to the house versus being internal of the house.
Absolutely. There are 350 million guns in America. There are not 350 million gun deaths anywhere near it. Yeah, your statistics are absolute shit, Trent Biggs. You have your head up your ass and you need to pull your brain out and you're brainwashed and you're a dumbass. Okay? Please leave America. Actually, leave planet Earth and go live on another planet so that humans don't have to have your genetics in the gene pool. That's what I say about him. Real quick, 338.06 for Black Bear for extra bleeding, assuming. Yeah, 338.06. I would have a bigger bullet for extra bleeding. Black bears are tough, man. Where 35 reeling.
Yeah.
All I know is Alaska doesn't want any more libtards moving here. Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Juneau are filled with them. Absolutely. Although, if you look at the districts that actually vote Democrat, it's mostly the native villages. It's mostly native villages.
Well,
On
see,
like on a,
that's also here too. I was down at a gun store, which was the wrong place for this lady to be spilling this crap. But this gun store is in a certain county, and she was going on. It was like the people here really need to be voting Democrat because it really it boosts their demographic and it boosts it. And I'm like, lady, you're really just in the wrong place because nobody here wants to hear it.
yeah. Take care, Brutal Bob. Really want to go. Enjoyed your chat. Me too. So I'm getting yeah. All liberals need to move to the Caliban. Move to the Caliban. There's a reason why liberals are moving out of the Caliban because their liberal policies don't work. It's like they don't work. Yep, they are uneducated. They are uneducated people, Dave London. People that vote Democrat are uneducated. That's you. And this is probably the same guy on all his different troll accounts, but you're uneducated because uh you think guns being banned, all right? You think only dumb people having guns is a bad thing. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. No. I had a 3.9 GPA. I had a higher GPA than you did, Dave London. So all these troll guys get in here. So I'm going to just go ahead and block him because he's already out. Um, but anyway, don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you. We are all Americans and can talk, not just adversaries. I have lots of guns and I still believe in coming together. Eisenhower had it right. I see that I agree with. That's a good thing. But banning guns doesn't solve problems. Now you have me all fired up, Chuck. You're ready. Yep. Yep. All right. Well, guys, God bless. Take care. We'll see you at the range. Godspeed and good hunting to all of y'all. Check out, I'll have a new video out either tomorrow or Thursday.